The power of self declaration, how identity shapes our reality. Every morning, somewhere in this vast world, a woman stands before her mirror and speaks these words: I am a teacher. I am a visionary. I am an emancipator. This isn't just a ritual of affirmation, it's a declaration of existence, a claiming of space, a revolution in three sentences. When I interviewed Keeshemah W. Johnson for the Pink Parachute Diaries podcast, I was struck by the raw power of her self identification. This remarkable educator, visionary, and emancipator has dedicated her life to transforming communities through the radical act of helping people recognize their own inherent power. Her approach to identity isn't just inspirational, it's revolutionary in a world that too often tells Black women who they should be rather than asking who they are. Kashema's work has touched countless lives, creating ripples of transformation that extend far beyond her immediate circle. She embodies what it means to not just speak truth to power, but to recognize that we ourselves are the power. Today, I want to share what I learned from Kishima about the transformative power of self declaration and how embracing our authentic identity becomes the foundation for everything we build. Have you ever noticed how we often wait for permission to be who we are? We wait for degrees to call ourselves educated. We wait for job titles to call ourselves professionals. We wait for external validation to call ourselves worthy. It's as if we're all standing in line at the identity DMV, ticket in hand, waiting for someone to call our number and hand us our official self. But what if the most revolutionary act is simply declaring who you are? When Kashima says, I'm a teacher, she doesn't just mean she has credentials, though she certainly does. She means she embodies the essence of education, of passing knowledge forward, of creating space for growth. When she says, I am a visionary, she's not waiting for someone else to recognize her ideas. She's claiming her ability to see beyond what exists. And when she says, I am an emancipator, she's declaring her purpose to free others from limitations, both external and self imposed. This isn't arrogance, it's clarity, it's power, it's truth. And it's something many of us, especially Black women, have been conditioned to avoid. We're taught to be humble to the point of invisibility, to wait until someone else recognizes our value before we dare speak it aloud, to fold ourselves smaller and smaller until we can fit into the narrow boxes others have prepared for us. But what happens when we flip that script? What happens when we declare who we are without apology? I've seen the answer in action through three powerful examples that mirror Keeshema's philosophy. Consider Ashley Sims, the formidable leader of Build in Tulsa. Here's a woman who could have simply called herself an administrator or a nonprofit director. Instead, she embraced her identity as a storyteller and advocate. And that self definition shaped everything that followed. Build in Tulsa isn't just supporting Black entrepreneurs, it's reclaiming and reimagining the legacy of Black Wall Street. Under Sims' leadership, they've created comprehensive support systems that have reached 400 entrepreneurs, facilitated more than 10,000 hours of training and coaching, and invested $10.5 million dollars with underrepresented founders. When I asked her about the barriers Black entrepreneurs face, Sims didn't focus on the problems. She focused on the vision. The next Black led billion-dollar company will be based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, she told me with absolute conviction. That's not just optimism, that's the power of declaration creating a new reality. In just 2.5 years, Sims has transformed the narrative around Black Wall Street from a historical tragedy to an inspirational blueprint for the future. She's raised more than $16 million dollars across four different organizations and been recognized as an Aspen Institute 2023 Health Communities Fellow. Why? because she first recognized herself as someone capable of this work. She claimed her identity as a champion for Black entrepreneurship. She declared her purpose before waiting for the world to grant her permission. This is exactly what Kishima means when she talks about the power of self declaration. When we name ourselves, we create the foundation from which everything else grows. Or consider Sakana Hoffler, whose creative journey demonstrates another facet of this principle. As a multi talented writer and educator, Hoffler navigates an industry with historical barriers to recognition for Black voices. But rather than allowing those barriers to define her, she defined herself. I am dancing, 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 Hoffler says of her creative practice. This isn't just poetic language, it's a declaration of persistent motion, of refusing to be static or confined. By embracing multiple creative formats, poetry, fiction, essays, and dramatic writing, Hoffler created her own path. Her work has received significant recognition, including the 2024 NYC Forge Fellowship, the 2024 Analog Award for Emerging Black Voices, and the C.P. Cavafy Poetry Prize. What's particularly powerful about Hoffler's approach is her concept of defamiliarization, examining reality by stepping outside of it. This mirrors what happens when we step outside society's definitions of us and create our own. As Keeshemah would say, this is education as emancipation. It's using knowledge not just to understand the world, but to transform it. Even in fields far removed from education or entrepreneurship, this principle holds true. Take Tom Dorlado, an extreme sports athlete and adventurer who embodies the mindset of embracing challenges and pushing beyond perceived limitations. What makes Day Dorlado exceptional isn't just his physical abilities, it's his mental framework. He doesn't see himself as constrained by ordinary human limitations. He has declared himself capable of the extraordinary, and that declaration shapes his reality. Through his adventures, De Dorlado has developed practical wisdom about overcoming fear and uncertainty, wisdom that applies far beyond extreme sports. His recognition as someone who exemplifies being superhuman speaks to his ability to transcend ordinary limitations and achieve extraordinary results. This connects directly to Kishima's emphasis on vision and empowerment. When we declare ourselves capable of more than what seems possible, we create the mental space to achieve it. Now, I can already hear the skeptics. But isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this just saying things without making them true? No. This is something much more profound when Kashima declares, I am a teacher, a visionary, and emancipator. She's not just hoping these things are true, she's recognizing what already exists within her and bringing it into conscious awareness. She's aligning her actions with her essence. She's creating congruence between who she knows herself to be and how she moves through the world. This isn't magical thinking, it's intentional being. And it's particularly powerful for Black women who have historically been defined by others rather than permitted to define themselves. In a world that hands talented Black women pink slips while rewarding underperforming men with golden parachutes, as we often discuss on the Pink Parachute Diaries, self declaration becomes an act of resistance. It says, you do not get to tell me who I am. I know who I am. Maya Angelou captured this perfectly when she wrote, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. That declaration connects personal identity to historical legacy and future possibility. It's not just about who she is as an individual, it's about who she is as part of a continuum of struggle and triumph. Similarly, when Keeshemah declares herself an emancipator, she's connecting her personal identity to a larger purpose. She's recognizing that her work of liberation isn't just about herself, It's about creating freedom for others. This brings me to the second key insight from my conversation with Keeshemah. Education and continuous learning are transformative tools for empowerment. Education isn't just about collecting credentials, it's about expanding possibilities. It's about creating new neural pathways that allow us to see beyond current limitations. It's about equipping ourselves and others with the tools to build new realities. As both an educator and lifelong learner, Keeshemah exemplifies how knowledge acquisition creates pathways to opportunity. But she takes it a step further by recognizing that true education is always emancipatory. It frees us from the constraints of limited thinking. This is why representation matters so deeply. When Black women see other Black women as educators, entrepreneurs, creatives, and adventurers, it expands what seems possible. It creates new templates for self declaration. The third insight from Kishimah's approach is perhaps the most powerful. Vision combined with action creates lasting change. Being a seer and visionary isn't just about ideas, it's about manifesting those visions through concrete steps and empowering others to do the same. It's about bridging the gap between what is and what could be. This is where many of us get stuck. We either have vision without action, which remains fantasy, or action without vision, which becomes busy work. The magic happens when the two combine. Ashley Sims didn't just envision a revitalized Black Wall Street. She created systems to make it happen. Sakina Hoffler didn't just imagine herself as a writer across multiple genres. She did the work of dancing, dancing, dancing until her vision became reality. Tom DeDorlado didn't just dream of superhuman feats, he developed the skills and mindset to achieve them. And Kishema doesn't just call herself a teacher, visionary, and emancipator. She embodies these identities through daily practice and purpose driven work. So, what does this mean for you? It means you have the power to declare who you are, not who you might become someday if you're lucky, if the world allows it, but who you are in your essence right now. It means you don't need to wait for permission to claim your identity as a leader, a creator, an innovator, a healer, a builder, a visionary. It means your morning mirror ritual can be revolutionary. I want you to walk away from this talk today with more than inspiration. I want you to walk away with a commitment to revolution, a personal revolution that begins with the words, I am. Tonight, I challenge you to stand before your mirror and declare who you truly are. Not your job title, not your role in your family, not what others have told you that you are, but who you know yourself to be at your core. Say it out loud. Feel the power of those words in your body. Then tomorrow, I want you to act from that declaration. Make one decision, take one action that aligns with the person you've declared yourself to be, and do it again the next day and the next. Because here's the truth that Kiyashima and all the remarkable individuals I've mentioned today understand when we declare who we are with conviction, the world eventually has no choice but to recognize it too. This isn't about ignoring reality or the very real barriers that exist, especially for Black women and other marginalized groups. It's about refusing to let those barriers define the boundaries of your identity. It's about creating an internal reality so powerful that it eventually transforms your external reality. As Audre Lorde said, if I didn't define myself for myself, I would be crunched into other people's fantasies for me and eaten alive. Self declaration isn't just self expression, it's self preservation, it's self creation, it's self revolution. So I ask you now, who are you? Who are you really? And what would change in your life if you declared that truth without apology? The world is waiting for your answer. not in whispers, but in declarations, not someday, but today. Declare it, embody it, act from it, and watch as your declaration reshapes not just your reality, but our collective future.